Hello and welcome to the One Life Church devotional series where we cover the entire Bible in 20 months. Well, today's chapters are Proverbs 13 and 14. Now, the church that I'm ministering at this weekend has put me up in this motel, and this is the only place that I can find some peace and quiet amongst all these crazy Aussies down here at the motel gymnasium. So, chapter 13 has got, I've seen like 8 categories of subject of wisdom. And then chapter 14 is largely about folly. So let's have a look at the wisdom seen in Proverbs 13. Those who guard their lips preserve their lives. Those who care for what they say. Because those who speak rashly come to ruin. What you say winds up dictating your future. A sluggard's appetite is never fulfilled, but the desires of the diligent are fully satisfied. In other words, hard work, diligence, good thing. Whether it's in ministry, whether it's in looking after your home, whether it's in your job, you eat the fruit of your hard work. One person pretends to be rich, yet has nothing. Another pretends to be poor, yet has great wealth. It's quite insightful, isn't it? Especially in our day and age today with social media. People pretending to have, pretending to be, living in this make-believe world. So many people these days have grown up. It used to be just kids lived in a make-believe world, but people these days are deluded. You know, they spin doctor their own lives. And this proverb is saying, ridiculous, man. Be authentic, be real. Have a sober assessment of your life. Where there is strife, there is pride. Verse 10 says, but wisdom is found in those who take advice. Humility will keep peace at your door, is what it's saying. Hope deferred makes the heart sick, but a longing fulfilled is the tree of life. This is one of the most famous proverbs. Those who dream about unattainable things, or if the advice people give that is just absolutely always unattainable, if you live in this pipe dream, it's the onset of depression and sickness of soul is the outcome of that. And then there's a bunch of proverbs speaking about discipline and taking advice. Whoever scorns instruction will pay for it, but whoever respects command is rewarded. Verse 18, whoever disregards discipline comes to poverty and shame, but whoever heeds instruction is honored. And then probably one of the most controversial proverbs in the Bible these days is 24. Whoever spares the rod hates their children. Our friend Luke, who asks questions on these texts, says, what does that mean? And I suppose he's wanting to know, does the Bible support corporal punishment? Belting your children? Well, it says child, not big kid, not teenager. Whipping out a shambuk on a 17-year-old is never what this verse has in mind. It's basically saying if a child is not showed which way to go, it's going to be a disaster. And so sometimes when children can't reason, they can't talk, you can't negotiate consequences for their action, a heavy hand on them. Maybe that's just a firm grip on the shoulder, or sometimes a light tap. That's what this verse is saying. Let them see the consequence of their error of their ways, and you will be training them up in the way that they would go. Now, chapter 14, as I said, is largely about folly. A wise woman builds a house, but a foolish one tears it down. I always think this is a bit of advice that we need to think through. What is the consequence of what you're doing? Is it worth shouting at that person? Is it worth punishing that person that way? Is it worth taking that course of action? Think about it in the long term. Are you tearing down what you're trying to build? Community at home, memories with your children. Is it really worth it? A fool's mouth lashes out with pride. Stay away from a fool. You won't find knowledge on their lips. Folly is a fool's deception. The simple believe anything. A fool is hot-headed and yet feels secure. A quick-tempered person does foolish things. This whole chapter is full of signs of what it means to be foolish. But blessed, this is what it says in verse 21, blessed is the person who's kind to the needy. You see, essentially a fool is not scoping ahead. They self-centered, looking at the now, gobbling up gratification for now and not looking into the future. But a wise person looks out for others and invests in other things. All hard work brings profit, but mere talk only leads to poverty. And so I trust as you go through these texts, God shows you, and I'm praying as I look at this, God, show me in my life where I've been foolish and lead me in the ways everlasting.